Hello and welcome to another live of Sport Intellects. Today we are joined by a new guest. It is Sandeepani Tiwari, and he is going to be analyzing with us. Sandeepani, welcome to the Sport Intellects. And today we are here to talk about Gujarat Titans versus Sunrisers Hyderabad, of course. What did you make of that match? Because that match was a match which we would say was a classic Sunrisers Hyderabad kind of chase, isn't it? And where do you think it all change for the Sunrisers Hyderabad? Is it that over by Abhishek Sharma where he took down Lockie Ferguson for 4 boundaries in that over? Is that the over which gained the momentum back to Sunrisers Hyderabad, you reckon?
Yeah, hi Abel. First of all, very delighted to be here as well. Speaking about today's game, I think Gujarat Titans were the favorites heading into the game, having won
Absolutely.
three out of the three games. And SRH, they won the game against CSK, but you have to say that CSK are at their vulnerable best right now because they don't have a proper bowling lineup. So SRH were the underdogs coming into the game, clear underdogs. And once they won the toss and they got a favorable pitch,
Right.
I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Natarajan, they applied themselves perfectly at the death. I mean, Gujarat just scored 44 of their last 5 overs. That too with all their power hitters in the shed. Miller was there. Miller almost got out in the 15th over or 16th over, but they had Hardik Pandya, they had the young chap Avinav Manohar, and they had Rashid Khan and Rahul Tewatia in the shed. So
Right.
it was it was they should have finished well, but Natarajan and Bhuvneshwar Kumar bowled absolutely like nailed those perfect Yorkers, and it was not it did not go well for Gujarat Titans.
Yeah.
Also, they were in some pressure in the chase. They
Right.
were 11 for not in the first 4 overs. They were just trying to tackle the swing because even you could see that Hardik Pandya was also swinging it in the first 2 overs.
Right.
But once Kane Williamson got that two boundaries of the fifth over from Mohammad Shami, and then Abhishek Sharma decided that he'll go for it, and they scored 31 of the last 2 overs in the power play, which
Absolutely.
got their score to only 42, but it was their highest score in the power play this season.
True.
So basically, they are slow starters. SRH are slow starters, but
Right.
they have enough power hitters in the shed to cover for that.
Right.
And with that
Because
bowling, yeah,
because we've
yeah,
seen this on SRH, right? Like Kabhi Kabhi, so we also feel that SRH are a team which are very boring to watch because they are the team who kind of chase down this 160, 150, 19 overs, 18 overs. But do you reckon now
yeah,
it's like a template? Because last few years, or especially last year, they were not able to gain that back. But if you look at the best of Sunrisers, right, from 2016 to 2020 at least, they used to do this very often under Warner's captaincy. They used to restrict teams to 160, 150, and Warner used to score 50 runs, 70 runs, and they used to easily chase it down. But also, they never used to chase down like 14, 15 overs. They used to take their time,
yeah,
17, 18 overs, because they used to play in a pitch like Hyderabad where it used to be slow and low, and where
yeah,
Rashid
yeah.
used to come into play.
Yeah, exactly.
Bhuvneshwar.
They had Rashid Khan. They had Bhuvneshwar Kumar at his best. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was probably at his peak in 2016, 17, 18 when he was really bowling really well. And they
Mhm.
had the experience of, not exactly the experience, the domestic experience of Siddharth Kaul. I think
Right.
Siddharth Kaul was a brilliant addition. Like Siddharth Kaul was a brilliant player for SRH. He was a brilliant
Absolutely.
death over bowler. He used to control that. And then players like Natarajan, Sandeep Sharma, they actually evolved from Sunrisers Hyderabad. They have come a great deal. Like nobody would have known of Siddharth Kaul or say Sandeep Sharma if not for SRH and those swinging pitches where the ball used to swing a mile. They have always banked on their paces because they knew they had Rashid Khan in the spin department, so they did not have to work too hard on the spin
Right.
in the spin department. They had it covered. So it has always been pacers and seamers for them, and it has worked out really well for them in the past. In 2021, I think the management played a very important role in their downfall. The fallout between David Warner and the management was key to their. Like if your team has a lot of internal conflicts in between them, so then they cannot perform properly. Is what I feel, because even we saw that in case of KKR, they were almost on course of making it to the playoffs in 2019, but that Russell, Dinesh Karthik, who should come into bat factor, that played a role.
Absolutely. I
So
think
yeah,
yeah. If you
Hmm.
have these kind of superpowers in between, and of course, I'm not saying there was anything between Kane Williamson and David Warner, but we also discussed this. If you guys remember at the start of the match, for the preview, also we discussed regarding the same thing, how management holds a big vital cog as to how they deal with these big superstars in the lineup. I'll talk about Bhuvneshwar Kumar because we were talking about him. Do you reckon this season he has been a lot more like the Bhuvneshwar Kumar of 2020, 2019, where he's running in, balling in with intent? Okay, maybe wickets might not be like he has picked up 10 wickets or 11 wickets, but then if you look at the way in which he has balled, he looked in good rhythm, isn't it? Because we have to talk about that series in South Africa where he looked absolutely out of par. Then all of a sudden he has
Hmm.
come back into the rhythm by just bowling really well in the T20 matches against Sri Lanka and or West Indies. I think it was West Indies
Both,
series
both,
where
both.
he
Yeah.
absolutely came back into the rhythm,
Hmm.
and now he's able to sustain it. Right now he's bowling at 130, 135, and also swinging the ball, and he's also able to nail the Yorkers, which is such a important part of Bhuvneshwar Kumar's armory when it comes to death bowling in T20 cricket, isn't it?
Exactly, exactly. Say we can kind of have been seeing a resurgence of Bhuvneshwar Kumar since 2021 November, December, that time when New Zealand toured India for that T20 series. I think right from then Bhuvneshwar Kumar has played like he has been the old Bhuvneshwar that we know of. And
Right,
speaking about wickets, when we talk about T20s and especially IPLs, if you think about Ravi Ashwin, he's not the wicket taker, but he knows his role in the team. His
right,
role in the team is to contain the batsman. Chahal will come from the other end. He'll just create the pressure, and Chahal will capitalize on it and take the wickets. Like batsman will
right.
go to like that's his job. So Bhuvneshwar, I think, has the job of containing the batsman and bowling at the death. Bowling well at the death is a very important role of Bhuvneshwar Kumar for SRH, especially because this time around, uh, uh, like apart from Natarajan, they don't have a proper death bowler. Marco Jansen will not be used in the death. I don't think, and Umran Malik has the pace, has the raw talent, but he has to work on his Yorkers and line and length. So
Absolutely.
I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Natarajan have to do the job for SRH in all the games, or at least most of it. If they can contain the batting team in under 160, 165, we are going to have these boring games. But SRH will not be complaining. They would
True.
absolutely be loving these boring games when they win.
True.
It's been their motto.
I'm gonna put you another hat as
Yeah.
well. Natarajan now is coming back after a long injury layoff, same as Bhuvneshwar Kumar as well. We have seen the best of Natarajan because he's played for India, he's done well for India, especially in the Australian tour. And somewhere between after that, it could possibly be his age because he's all of a sudden playing a lot of cricket at the age of 30, which is not an ideal age for any fast bowler. And when you put such amount of work
Exactly.
to it, and he's also made a test debut out of the blue. He played that Gaba test match, which India went on to win. So you can expect these kind of things happening, right, for a fast bowler who has taken a lot of workload. Now, I'm going to talk about how Natarajan has evolved as a bowler. And what do you reckon of his bowling, especially this season? Has he come back to the old Yorker Nattu, where he's charging it in the death overs and nailing those Yorkers? And how big a factor will he be? Can he get the call up to the Indian team as well? I would like to know your opinion on that.
Yeah, definitely he can get a call up to the Indian T20 side at least. I don't know about Test and ODI. We have a lot of fast bowlers and pacers that are online ahead of him. But in the T20, especially in the T20s, if he can nail those Yorkers, which he has done for the last 5 games, he has got 8 wickets in those 5 games this season.
Right,
He's I think the fifth highest wicket taker right now. So
right,
he has been having a very good tournament. He has been bowling really well at the death. You see, the economy rate is not a thing for pacers who bowl at the death. Like they are going to go for runs. Even when you nail those Yorkers, you can have those French cut and the outside edges flying off for boundaries. But you should never be demotivated and try for those Yorkers. And what we love about Natarajan and bowlers like Kartik Tyagi, I think this time around he hasn't got the chance. But if he
right.
will get a chance, Kartik Tyagi, Natarajan, these are bowlers that they can nail the Yorkers at will. Things like I think if Natarajan would have been in RR, he would have got a better push than what he's getting in at
Yeah,
SRH
right,
because we have
absolutely.
Malinga in RR exactly.
Yeah,
So
true.
if I am Prashid Krishna right now, I will be really happy about my prospects for a national team call up after this because I know Malinga will groom him really well.
Absolutely, because you've seen this guy perform well in the one-day series as well. Wherever he has gotten opportunity, Prasid has done
Yeah,
well, and also with Natarajan, that's been the case because he's never let you down. There is no performance which says that he's not done well. If it takes me back to another game where Sam Curran was on slot and he was just in really good form, where Natarajan was told to defend 10 to 12 runs and he absolutely nailed the
Yeah,
job. That Natarajan can be a reliable bowler under pressure, and he's done it. And when you talk about Natarajan, what comes to your mind is that ball which he balls to ABD Villiers. Now, recently, the ball which he bowled to Ruturaj Gaikwad, and he's also swinging the ball.
exactly.
So that's also a good thing for a left arm pacer. Let's talk about
The
today's game a
ball
little
that he
more.
bowled to Rituraj Gaikwad, I think that was a half volley. The first time it was a
Well,
half volley, but it was swinging in.
it
Yeah,
was
it was
swinging,
swinging in,
and the
and
ball
Rituraj
came
Gaikwad,
from
with the form he
mostly
is in,
distance,
he
right?
missed it completely.
Because
Yeah,
Mitchell Stark bowls the same length, and if he can swing the ball,
exactly,
it makes a
exactly,
difference. Because
exactly.
a left arm seamer coming in from over the wicket, taking the angling the ball into you is always a tough cookie to play. Because you talk
Just
about every
like how
player
we
bowls.
saw Umran Malik dismiss Matthew Wade today, right-hander
Yeah,
coming from round the wicket with the angle and the
yeah.
pace, the ball just went in. Yeah.
Maybe Natarajan would not be having that kind of a pace, but still, the left arm angle makes a lot of difference. And
See, you
uh,
don't need to have pace. You just need accuracy. You will see that Umran Malik, even with that pace, he's almost going at 10 runs per over in every game. Because
absolutely
that's the like he bowls in at 150, 155. He bowls those like Yorker length balls. And as we saw in the CSK game, Moin Ali and Ambati Raidu were just timing him. Were just
yeah,
timing the
yeah.
balls for boundaries.
True.
You
I mean,
don't have to do anything with that
I thought
pace.
even yesterday, when not yesterday, sorry, 2 days ago when Chennai played Sunrisers Hyderabad, I thought one area where Chennai struggled was to just get these ballers away, and they were in two
Yeah,
minds whether to target the middle overs or whether to go in the death. And in death again, someone like Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Natarajan again nailed their Yorker. So it
yeah.
just reminds me of the Mustafizur and Bhuvneshwar season in 2016 where one left arm ball used to nail the Yorkers and Bonish used to also pick up wickets. Possibly it could be one of these seasons because they did not have the best of starts even then, and but they made it up. Let's talk about
Yeah,
today's
but
match. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but Mustafizur, when you talk about that SRH bowling lineup, you had Mustafizur Rahman, you had Khalil Ahmed, you had
No, you didn't have
Bhuvneshwar Kumar,
Khalil Ahmed. I think you had
You had
Ashish Nehra.
Siddharth Kaul, you had
I don't know.
Siddharth Kaul and Ashish
I
Nehra.
think 2016 was Ashish Nehra, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, uh, Mustafizur Rahman, Barinder Sran.
But Kaul was a member of the team when SRH won the IPL.
I don't think he played a major part at all. I think he played a major part in the season where he took him to the finals, but they lost the finals to Chennai Super Kings in 2018.
Yeah, 17, I think.
18.
18, 18. Yeah,
Yeah,
2018.
right.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
again, they have from this we already know that SRH has always like given chance, like given these pacers their own, like they have given them the opportunity to grow themselves, and not just the foreign pacers, the young Indian talents. You got Khalil Ahmed from SRH, you got Varinder Strand. He was very prominent at one point of time, but now not so prominent right now. But SRH gave him that breakthrough. Say for Siddharth Kaul, even though they did not go and make it to the national team, which
Hmm.
is understandable because India have been producing great pacers in the last 4 to 5 years under Kohli's regime. So yeah, but SRH has been giving these young talents a great space, a great foundation to build their careers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just talking about even today's match, just saw Umran Malik be more confident, just delivering his goods against a top quality batter like Hardik Pandya. Though he balled that bouncer and rattled Hardik Pandya, but the way in which he came back, even after those two boundaries were struck, it just speaks volumes of the confidence they have instilled on these youngsters. And it's always good to see, Indian youngsters coming up. And I think SRH has always had that value of grooming young pacers, and they've been able to do successfully. And SRH at their prime always have relied on Indian pacers, and that's one thing which they're doing this season as well. Now, talking about today's match, do you reckon the dropped catch by Lockie Ferguson of Puran would have actually affected the game in a certain way? Because a wicket over there of Nicholas Puran, a new batsman, and we don't know, it could have been Rahul Tripathi or it could have even been someone like Shashank Singh walking in. It definitely is not an easy thing, right? Just to come
I
walk
think
in,
if Puran would have been dismissed, I think if Puran would have been dismissed, SRH would have promoted Washington Sundar up the order.
right?
because one for the left hand right hand combination, and secondly because Washington Sundar has done it for SRH against the game in RR, like against RR. He played that amazing 40 run knock of 14 balls, which at
Right.
least gave Sunrisers that respectable total. Like they reached a
Right.
respectable total due to Washington. So I
Right.
think he would have been promoted up the order. Also, speaking about the catch, I think that was a very difficult like chance. Once you ball at 140, 150 kilometers per hour, and then like to break that follow through and go back and dive and take that, it would have been a
Yeah.
brilliant catch. But if they would have taken that catch, I think we would have had a different result altogether, because Markram, uh, we don't rely on Markram to finish off matches. Speaking about that, I also feel that Kane Williamson can be used in the middle order when you have openers, like when you have like Markram has always been better at at the top order, at the top of the innings. Like he provides you that not exactly an explosive start, but he goes at a strike rate of around 130, 140, which we are
Absolutely.
not seeing in the case of Kane Williamson. Also, they have Rahul Tripathi, so they can either go for Rahul Tripathi or go for um, uh, Aiden Markram at the top with Abhishek
Yeah.
Sharma.
I mean,
That will give them the opportunity. Yeah,
that also gives them a flexibility in the batting order. And also, I reckon a player like Williamson batting in the middle would mean that Sunrisers can play around this player. You know, if you're losing Williamson
exactly.
first up, you've seen Sunrisers Hyderabad struggle quite a bit. And even today, you know, if they would have taken the review, the game could have gone anywhere. I'm not saying that Sunrisers would have lost that game, but then, being, having Williamson dismissed for naught would mean the pressure would have been on Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, just talking about
Exactly.
Gujarat Titans, it's one team we have criticized a lot in Sport Intellect, right? From the day of the auction, we have absolutely gone bonkers on Gujarat Titans, but finally we have got them to lose. So actually now we can criticize them. so
Yeah, further we can criticize them further. I also feel the same. They did
yeah,
not do
I want
a
to talk
very
about
good job
Hardik
at the
Pandya's
auctions.
captaincy today. We've spoken in
Yeah,
Sport Inlet before as well, as to how this Hardik Pandya will be tested when he loses matches. See, when you win matches, a captain will definitely not be tested. You know that a captain is in safe spot. Everybody will, you know, praise the captain, applaud the captain for whatever he does. And the same thing with Rohit Sharma as well. When he loses, how he reacts is what makes the captain he is. How can he come back out of these losses? And today, for the first time, Gujarat Titans were put under the pump. And Hardik Pandya did not react in the best of ways. He was going at the fielders, he was going at the ballers, he was saying some of the fielders take diving catches where
yeah, the
in
one with
practice could
Shami. Yeah.
not have been possible. So you reckon that this is where Hardik Pandya will be tested, and this is not possible the ideal way to captain when you're put under the pump?
See, we have to watch for Hardik Pandya's temperament as a captain. Like if he loses his cool like he did against Shami, like the ball was that was not a catch. At best, if Shami would have made that dive, he would have got it on half volley and it would have gone for a four. So Shami took that call and he thought that he'll at least protect the boundary. But I understand his approach. Like he's an aggressive captain. He has been under Kohli for a long time, so he gives out that aggressive spirit. Like he gives shows that intent, always like emoting his expressions in a very expressive manner.
Right,
So yeah, we will get to see his temperament. His temperament will be tested because Gujarat Titans have won those three games because Shubman Gill has batted exceptionally at the top, and their three frontline bowlers, Rashid Khan,
right.
Loki Ferguson, and Mohammad Shami have performed. It will be very interesting to see if these four players are not making that massive impact in a game. And also, let's consider Hardik Pandya because he has played two like characterizing knocks and he has bowled 4 overs in all the games, like almost all the games.
Mm.
So let's consider that in. It will be interesting to see when these 4 or 5 players are not like at their best. What are the other players bringing to the table? Tewatia has finished one game for them. Tewatia played exceptionally well in the first game as well
Right.
when they chased down that total against Lucknow. So they have been banking on the explosiveness of Tewatia, their three frontline bowlers, and all-round performance of Hardik Pandya to go with Shubman Gill.
Right.
Matthew Wade has made no contribution. Their foreign players like Matthew Wade, David Miller
And that's where
has
I
made no
think
prominent
now,
contribution.
someone like Rahmanullah Gurbaz can come in because, we spoke about Matthew Wade. We've not yet seen him go and perform well in Asian conditions, barring that World Cup semi-final against Pakistan. There also he was dropped by Hassan Ali. If not, that
Exactly.
innings would have not even gone anywhere. He would not have gained that popularity. And I reckon, moreover, he got the auction bid also because of that innings. In IPL auction, we have seen
Exactly.
time and time again when a player performs well, and a player performs well on a big stage. For example, Daryl Mitchell, for example, Matthew Wade. They often tend to
Carlos
get those
Brathwaite.
big bucks. Carlos Brathwaite or Dane Smith when they have performed against India. They often tend to get these big bids, and that's one of the reasons why we have seen Matthew Wade get that big bid. And I wouldn't mind seeing Matthew Wade opening, because if you put him in the middle order, it's not going to do any justice to the player he is, because he's going to be tested against good off spin bowling. Because nowadays, if you look, every team has a good off spinner or a leg spinner, and
Yeah,
Matthew
he's going
Wade
to struggle against them.
Matthew Wade does
He
not have
struggles against
a
off
go-to
spin.
shot. He's possibly his go-to shot is a sweep shot, from what I can make out from whatever he has done so far in his career. And even Test cricket was probably his biggest test, and he's not done well in Asian conditions in Test cricket. So now let's talk about what could possibly be their options. Right now, you're talking about Ridhiman Saha, who has done considerably well, especially in power plays at least. Strike rate in the power play is incredible. It's close to 150 in IPL. And don't you reckon he's an underrated IPL batsman? Because people often look at, okay, he cannot go out there and play post the power play, those kind of records. But if he can give you a 30 or 15 balls, 40 of 25 balls in the power play, it sets up the game for your team, isn't it? And that's one of the reasons why they should be going for Ridhiman Saha instead of maybe Matthew Wade.
Yeah, they should definitely consider Riddhiman Saha at some point. I think Matthew Wade will get another few opportunities at least, if not
Yeah,
more. He'll get another 2 to 3 games. They'll try him for 2 to 3 games. Speaking about Saha, I think age is a factor. Age has been a factor for Saha. Like he's not the youngest anymore, and we often talk about his strike rate at the power plays, but we don't talk about his strike rate after that. Like he slows down considerably after the power plays. Uh,
right,
be- Another reason for that is like Saha is not very comfortable. Like he's comfortable against the spinners when you talk about other overseas player. Like if you talk about Matthew Wade and if you push him down the order, he is going to fail. According to me, he is going to fail miserably because the slog sweep that you are talking about has been his nemesis for most of his career. He goes to
right,
sweep them, he gets a toppage, and then he gets dismissed. That's been
right.
the case for Matthew Wade for most of his Test career,
Mhm.
barring his ODI and T20s. But speaking about Riddhiman Saha, I think they can try out Rahmanullah Gurbaz instead of Riddhiman Saha because we know Rahmanullah Gurbaz will give that explosive start because Shubman Gill has been playing a bit uncharacteristically to say the least in the last 2 to 3 games, and
Right.
he has been put under immense pressure. You expect Shubman Gill to play like get himself in and then go for his shots, but in the last few games you can see that he has been trying. Like he was criticized in KKR for his slow strike rate, so he has tried to change his game and come up with new sort of a new approach to the game and go for it right from ball one, like try and
Yeah.
accelerate at every ball. Yeah, but if you get in Rahmanullah Gurbaz, I think Shubman Gill can play his natural game.
Hmm.
I don't know how long Rahmanullah Gurbaz will last because that's the issue with him. Like
You've
he'll
seen with
even
Rahmanullah Garbaz, right? With Afghanistan also, he's someone who goes out there and takes the attack for the bowlers, and he has
yeah.
done well doing such an approach. And you expect such a youngster to be blooded into the IPL, considering the number of youngsters who have done well, especially in this year's IPL. And opening is the best possible spot because you get 120 balls to play. Even if you want to get settled in, you can take good 10-15 balls, settle in, then up your ante as you call it. But now, if you're going to put him in the middle order, it's definitely not going to work out. Number one, that. Number two, I also want to talk about Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya is, we speak about Hardik Pandya, the finisher. He's done really well for Mumbai Indians, batting in number 6, number 7. But all of a sudden, you're looking at Hardik Pandya batting in number 4 in an IPL franchise. I think the best I've seen of one of the, I take me out 2016 where they promoted Hardik Pandya at number 3 for Mumbai Indians in a game against Pune Super Giants where he was sent on a green top and he couldn't survive at all. I really reckon that Hardik Pandya is a proper finisher where he should be sent a number post probably 14 overs, 15 overs, where he can get, just get going from ball one. Right now, you're seeing more of a restricted Hardik Pandya. We've seen a lot of captains in the IPL as well. We've seen that with Rishabh Pant, we've seen that with Shreyas Iyer for a far bit, KL Rahul. When you get the captaincy role, you're trying to play more of a restrictive kind of role, saying that, see, I don't want to take any risk. I don't want to be myself over here. Hardik Pandya can still come in at number 4 and score a 30 ball 60, but he's trying to score a 30 ball 40. I think it will be better of Hardik Pandya to be himself rather than saying that I have to take the responsibility. I understand that Gujarat's batting order is not the deepest of the batting order, where they have a lot of batsmen to follow Hardik Pandya, considering Miller's form is also a major issue for them. But then you have to take the risk in order to win, right? And at some point, you will have to come good and you'll have to be yourself, because his India call up is also depending upon his form in the IPL. So, what do you reckon on that?
Yeah, it's something I think that has been decided by Hardik Pandya and the Gujarat Titans management. I think
Right.
they have either they have told him to uh, try this approach, or probably Hardik Pandya has thought that, see, I am the captain, I'll take up the responsibility of anchoring the innings. I'll hold one end of the innings, so that if there is some uh, what to say, some mishap in the other end, they can still get to some respectable total. But I agree with you. I don't think this is Hardik Pandya's natural game.
Right.
His natural game is to be aggressive, attack the bowlers from ball one, and try and score as much as possible. If you talk about Hardik Pandya at number five, on like early in the batting order, you will remember that game against KKR where he scored that 91 of just 33 or 32 balls.
Mm-hmm.
91 when they were chasing some 217 to 18. So I think that is the Hardik Pandya we want. But looking at the batting lineup, looking at their current form, David Miller has not
Right.
been in good form. Vijay Shankar was a disaster for them at number
Right.
three.
Right.
Sai Sudarshan is a very young talent. He can they can look to play around him later. Like he can be their anchor at the later stages of the tournament, or say in the next season. They are still building him. And
Mm.
speaking about their explosive firepower at the end, there is David Miller, there is Rahul Tewatia, there is Rashid Khan. You don't talk about Rashid Khan because I don't think Rashid Khan will consider himself a batting all rounder. He's more of a bowling all rounder. Same
Mm.
about Rahul Tewatia. Even though he has that image of finishing games, it has come it has come once in say 5 or 6 games.
Right.
He did it against Punjab Kings in the 2020 season. He did it against Punjab Kings in this season. But you don't expect him to finish be the finisher in all the games.
Right.
So if Rahul Tewatia is coming in at number seven, and they have the youngster Abhinav Manohar,
Yeah.
and an out of form David Miller at number five and six, so I think that
My
prompts
question is
Hardik
this:
Pandya to play that role.
Abhinav Manohar is a capable enough batsman to bat at number four, but possibly it's that they don't want two youngsters like Sai Sudarshan and Abhinav Manohar to come back to back and also create a hole where if they both are stuck, it'll just look very bad unless one of them declares out, like what Ashwin did yesterday, where he retires himself out. But you don't want such situation. I can only possibly find that kind of a logic of Hardik Pandya coming in at number four, where on a day where if they want to score 10 and over, he can also do that. But on a day where they're 10 for 2, we can also manage that. Maybe that is a possible idea what Hardik Pandya, the team management, could have decided. But other than that, there is no proper logic for him to come at number four. But it's also good, it's also good to see him bat at number four. It also sends message to Indian selectors saying the all-rounder in me is back. I'm taking the responsibility. I can bat for so many overs in all three formats. So
Mainly, he
now,
just wants to prove that he has that match awareness that
yeah,
we are talking about. That most of the players, the explosive batsmen, they are just one dimensional. They
yeah,
just go for their hits. Hardik Pandya is just trying to prove that point that yeah, just see that I can also play that anchor's role. I
yeah.
can build a team. I can build an innings just by myself.
And also, just talking about Hardik Pandya, now he's bowling the second over of the match consistently every match. So it also is sending a message in the sea. I'm bowling at high 130s, close to 140s almost every match. I'm batting at number four. Selectors vote more D1. And the so-called player they've invested upon, like the Venkatesh Iyer, he's not playing well at all. So, it's going to be definitely a conundrum for selectors, and Rohit Sharma is going to be upon him now whether to prefer Venkatesh Iyer, who's done well at number six, to go ahead with him. But with Venkatesh Iyer, the issue is that he's not bowling. Even KKR hasn't trusted him with the ball at all. And whereas Hardik Pandya is also bowling, he's picking up wickets and also contributing with the bat. So do you reckon that's where the question comes? Hardik Pandya versus Venkatesh Iyer
See,
debate?
yeah, speaking about Hardik Pandya versus Venkatesh Iyer, I think Venkatesh Iyer, KKR can bank on him a bit more than they are doing at the moment. They are treating Venkatesh Iyer as an opening batsman, and that's about it. They are not treating him as an all-rounder. Because if they were treating him as an all-rounder, they would have gone for six bowling options instead of seven. What KKR is doing is they are playing that extra, say, a Rasik Salam. in the lineup and not even giving him the ball at crucial stages. But they are not giving Venkatesh Iyer the chance. He's bowling just 1 over in a game, or say no overs in a game, because they have Andre Russell as the sixth bowling option.
Right.
So what KKR can do is they can play four bowlers, Andre Russell as the fifth bowling option, and I think Venkatesh Iyer deserves to get the chance of the sixth bowling option, because he has done well in picking up wickets. Maybe not have he has not been the best of players when you talk about containing runs, but it's all about wickets in T20. If you can take those crucial wickets, 1 or 2 wickets at the right time in the middle overs, it can change the complexion of the game. And Venkatesh Iyer has done it for KKR in the past. He did it for KKR in the last season. He has done it for the national side as well. He has done it for India against West Indies. He took 2 wickets when he was given the chance to bowl. So I think they can try
But my
Venkatesh Iyer a bit.
question is this now, whether we've seen often with IPL that IPL changes complexion at a way in which people look at players. If you talk about Yuzvendra Chahal is a great example of that. Yuzvendra Chahal did not have the best of first half of the IPL, and he got dropped out of the T20 World Cup squad. And you saw someone like a Varun Chakravarti preferred just on the basis of IPL. And you also now you're talking about Venkatesh Iyer. The axe is possibly on him, isn't it? Because you're talking about Hardik Pandya, who has done well in Australian conditions. Last time around, when India toured Australia for the T20 series, he was a man of the series. You still remember that sixers which he hit off Daniel Sams over long on, where he finished a couple of games for India, where he also scored 90s couple of times in one day cricket as well. So he enjoys playing the Australian pitches because he's a good puller of the ball. He
No, I
doesn't
mean,
mind.
if you ask my opinion, I think Hardik Pandya is definitely, he has proven himself more than what Venkatesh Iyer has done. Like Venkatesh Iyer is just 1 season old. Like last year at this point of time, you did not even know that he existed.
Yeah,
So Hardik Pandya should always be given the first preference, given that he is bowling those overs. And speaking about him coming to bowl the second over, I don't think Gujarat Titans have that option, that luxury of option to bowl in the power. If not for Hardik Pandya, who will bowl the second over? They won't
Darshan.
risk Rashid Khan. The Darshan Nargande. See, we have seen that the fifth bowling option, Hardik Pandya is treating himself as the fourth bowling option, not the fifth bowling option.
Right, right,
Hardik
right.
Pandya has been treating Nalkande as the fifth
I
bowling
think,
option. If
yeah,
you talk
Darshan
about teams,
Alkan.
yeah. If you talk about teams, they prefer the fifth bowling option to bowl in the middle overs. After the
Right.
power play is over with one of the spinner, they'll operate.
True. True.
We saw it in the game of like uh, RR versus
Who was it?
Luck.
Yesterday's game you're talking about?
Yesterday, yeah,
LSG.
I'm talking about yesterday. LSG,
LSG.
Lucknow. Yeah, so they preferred Kuldeep Sen in the middle overs. Even though Kuldeep Sen looked like a very good bowler, he can even bowl in the power plays, but he was not needed to do that. So I think Hardik Pandya has defined that role, that I will come in at number 4. I will bowl those opening overs. I'll bowl in the power plays. Also, I think that is the best time where Hardik Pandya will not go for say 10 runs or 11 runs in an over, because
True.
teams will look to settle down first. If he
Right.
comes into ball after the power plays, they will target Hardik Pandya
And
and
it's not like
he'll go
Hardik
for
Pandya
plenty.
has balled bad also, right? We are talking about Hardik
No,
Pandya,
no, he
who's
has
done
bowled
really well this time around. He's balled good lengths. He's taking the ball away slightly as well. And he's a guy who has got 5 years in Test cricket, for God's sake. So it's not
Yeah.
like he's a bad bowler at all. He has won matches for India in all three formats, and it's always good signs for India the moment he starts bowling. And he's a very rare breed of cricketer. We talk about fast bowling all rounders in the world. We can count them in hands. We talk about Ben Stokes. Let's speak Jimmy Neesham, Marcus Stoinis, Hardik Pandya. In that, Ben Stokes and Hardik Pandya stands out because they deliver more with the ball and with the bat. I mean, speak about fast bowling all around. Mitchell Marsh, he balls only once in a while. Then you speak about Jason Holder, probably not as accomplished a batsman
Not
who
the
can
best
bowl.
batsman. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are pros and cons when it comes to that debate, and that's why Hardik Pandya and Ben Stokes possibly stand up when it comes to that X factor player tag, and that's why Gujarat have also retained him at that such a high price. Now, from here on for Sunrisers Hyderabad, let's get back to Sunrisers Hyderabad debate. What do you reckon they should be doing consistently because they've got good starts because they'll be having these bad days as well? Do you still reckon they miss a spin bowling option?
Hyderabad, yeah. As long as Washington Sundar is doing what he did in the last 2 games, they will be happy with him. Because Washington Sundar is more of a, like, you don't consider Washington Sundar to be a wicket taker.
Right.
Washington Sundar will come in the power plays. He'll keep the batsman under check. If you try to hit Washington Sundar, he'll get you out LBW, or say one that skids him. The batsman will be trapped in front. That is how you expect Washington Sundar to get his wickets. So he's not a main wicket taker. He's more of a run container, more like what Ashwin is, more like the job that Ashwin is doing for RR. So
Right.
SRH, they are banking on their pacers. I think you need a quality spinner in your lineup. That's my belief, because Mumbai Indians, talking about spinners, I will also say that Mumbai Indians lack a proper
Yeah.
spinner in their lineup. Murugan Ashwin has not proved himself in the like not even in the domestic circuit to be a frontline spinner for
He doesn't
a
start for
big
Tamil Nadu,
franchise.
so I don't expect him to. I don't know how is he the prime bowler for Mumbai Indians. So it's the same thing that Washington Sundar also is not your strike bowler. When we speak about Washington Sundar for RCB, he has been a bowler who has always been playing a support role with Yuzvendra Chahal. Yuzvendra Chahal was their prime bowler.
Exactly.
Even when
Yeah.
it comes to India, it'll be Yuzvendra Chahal, it'll be Kuldeep Yadav. He always used to play the support role who used to contain runs in the power play. And he used to be used as a power play bowler. Even if you look at the Pune Super Giants team back in 2017, where he absolutely came into prominence to be a very strong power play bowler. He used to ball around someone like Ashwin. He used to have Murugan Ashwin also for support to a certain extent. He can
Yeah.
ball in tandem with another spinner. I don't think
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he's probably a prime spinner who will be a go-to bowler to say, "Chal Washington, जाके मेरे को 2 wicket निकाल अभी." And he's not going to ball those lengths as well.
I totally agree with you on this, and also I feel that Washington Sundar is coming to SRH to fill the boots of Rashid Khan. Like you're
Right.
replacing Rashid Khan with Washington Sundar. Like he'll give you the same like. But I think that is just bizarre on their part to not go for another spinner. All the
Right.
more reason I think that is the exact reason why Simon Katich like quit as the coach after the
Hmm.
auction. Like he was not at all happy with this squad. We are
Ah,
talking about SRH. We are talking about SRH making a comeback, winning 2 out of 2 games. But I
hmm.
think it is a long road ahead. They don't
Right.
have the bowling depth to take them through to the playoffs. That is my prediction for
Even if
SRH.
they do, are they going to be a contender for the title? There are a lot of questions on
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
teams.
There's a lot of questions because Natarajan, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, you have two death over bowlers. Umran
Hmm.
Malik gives you that raw pace. Marco Jansen will bowl in the power plays in the middle overs. I don't think Marco Jansen can keep up with the form that he is doing. Like he has not gone for too much runs in the last 2 games, but
I have a
whether
question on this
like
also as well.
yeah,
They're playing with four
yeah,
pacers. They're playing with proper four pacers, out and out pacers. Not like they're playing with Marco Yasin is a proven test ball. He's not even an all rounder. I
hmm,
consider him as a
hmm,
bowler who can
yeah,
bat slightly. Do you
yeah,
reckon there's a good template to go as well? Because we spoke about spinner, of course, and having four pacers means you also will get those overs where you can go behind one of these pacers. If you target Umran Malik, he's not the most experienced to say that I'm gonna ball, I have the change up, I'm gonna come back even harder at you. You've seen in those games
no,
where batsmen have gone up against Umran Malik, he does not have an answer to it. All what he has is pace and again pace. And most of the batsmen nowadays in India enjoy pace. If a bowler is bowling to on 145 plus, they would like to use the pace and play around rather than nowadays batsmen hate those slower balls. That's one of the reasons why Harshal Patel is probably one of the most successful bowlers in the last 2 seasons. The ball doesn't come out to the bat.
exactly. If you talk about pace, I think it has always been proven that line and length. If you are in that proper channel of line and length, or if you're nailing those yorkers, line and length is accuracy is more important than pace.
Right.
uh, it has been proven in the past. To answer your question, let's analyze the teams. Say starting with Gujarat. Gujarat has Shami, Loki Ferguson, and Rashid Khan. So you would
Oh,
look to target the other 8 overs when you're playing against Gujarat.
yeah.
Similarly, if you consider all the teams, like say KKR, they have Varun Chakravarti and Sunil Narayan containing those runs. You won't target them. Like you will go for Varun Chakravarti occasionally, but you won't look to target Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti, and say Umesh Yadav.
Right.
If you are not in that desperate situation, if you consider like that, in all the teams have these 3 or 4 bowlers that they can get those 16 overs out or 12 overs out, and so the opponent team can only target those 4 or 8 overs. But when
Right.
you talk about SRH, only you can whom they will show the respect. Like they'll show, say Bhuvneshwar Kumar, you can give respect 4 overs.
Hmm.
Others like Natarajan, Umran Malik, Marco Jansen, and Washington Sundar. I think on any given day, you can target any of these 4 bowlers. So they have this 16 over space where they can
Right.
target any of these overs. Not in the
Right.
case of the other teams where they have the frontline bowlers, like respected frontline bowlers who have already proven themselves in the past.
Right.
You may argue that Natarajan has also proved himself in the past, but
True.
he's coming out of an injury. 2020 IPL, he almost missed the second half of the IPL. He just played, I think, 1 or 2 games for SRH in the last
Right.
season.
Right.
So I don't think they have got the auction thing correct. But given the limited resources, they have been using them really well. Kane Williamson has been using his resources really well. He knows when to use whom. He's a he's a World Cup runner-up, winning.
Right.
I would have just said winning captain, but then I realized, okay,
World
say a
Test
World Test
Championship.
Championship, yeah, World Test
Yeah.
Championship winning captain.
Yeah, he's a
So
good leader. I mean, there's no
he's a
doubt,
great
really
leader.
doubting Kane Williamson's potential as a leader over here because he's taken New Zealand to a World Cup final to that 2019, 2020 World Cup final last year, World Test Championship crown. So there's no doubt about Kane Williamson. He's taken Sunrisers Hyderabad to an IPL final as well. So you know the mettle of the Kane Williamson as a leader and what he brings to the table. It's about the management over here. We're just concerned about the management and the calls what they're making because I am still baffled about the decision why they've dropped Abdul Samad after two bad performances because he's one player you've retained. And that's one thing we have discussed in the preview of this game as well. Why would you drop someone like an Abdul Samad who has done well, who showed the potential? If you don't back these players, you're never going to get the returns from them as well. You cannot expect them to go firing from ball one or in the first game because they're going to have the failures. If you're talking about number six, number seven, they're going to have more failures than success. And if you're going to be judging
I
them on
just
the
want to know if you had the option of retaining just 4 players.
yeah,
You went with Abdul Samad as one of those 4 players, and you just play him 2 games, and you are just dropping him. Like, what does it tell? Like, what is the message that is going to him? Like, what is Abdul Samad thinking right now?
not just
That they
Abdul
have
Samad.
written
What
me.
about a player in the team as well? What about Abhishek Sharma? What about Umran
Yeah,
Malik? What
exactly.
will
What
they do?
Abhishek Sharma would have probably thought that if he did not perform in the, like, even in the third game, he would have been dropped. You never know.
Right, right, absolutely.
So this is completely. I think this is an approach which even KKR takes. Like, they dropped Shivam Mavi. They have been going about Shivam Mavi on and off. Shivam Mavi has been coming into the lineup and then being dropped.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, it has been a case for KKR as well. But I don't like, not just like, I don't think this is the right way to go about it,
Mhm.
because you have to show confidence in your players.
Right.
You have to trust your players. At least the players that you have retained.
True.
Otherwise, I don't know why they retained Abdul Samad. If he is not injured, if he's not 100%, I think he's not 100%. Otherwise, they would have given him the, like, go. At least even Rituraj Gaikwad with scores like one, not one, and some seven on again a one, he has been getting chances, and he'll be getting chances for the entire season. You can trust CSK management to give Rituraj Gaikwad 14 games, even if he fails in 12 of those,
Hmm.
because they know that he'll come good for them in the future.
Right. I mean, if I have to pull a banter, I would say unless sun rises from the west, sunrisers are not going to have a good time in IPL season with these kind of decisions.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
about that. I mean,
If Kane Williamson can lead this side to the playoffs, it will be a big achievement. Forget the title. I am not concerned about the title. If they can
I
reach the
think
playoffs, it will be a bigger achievement.
I think Sunrisers Hyderabad should no. I think Kane Williamson is under pressure every two games. He knows that his job is under scanner. You know what has happened to David Warner? He's
Yeah,
getting to
yeah,
five
yeah.
playoffs, one bad season, and the knives are on him. So Kane
not
Williamson is
not
under
just not just 5 playoffs. Just consider the amount of runs that he has scored. The percentage of runs he has scored for
one
Sunrisers
championship.
Hyderabad.
One, Sunrisers Hyderabad, the identity is because of David Warner. And today you're saying that David Warner, tu chale ja yaar. तेरे को नहीं चाहिए. And same thing with Rashid Khan as well. I think they've had a very bad thing, and I'll be surprised as well if they make it to the playoff.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Having
To
said
be
that,
very honest, we don't have much to talk about if Sunrisers game, because they are meant to be boring. They don't have the side. They don't
yeah.
have that X Factor player.
I mean,
It's
Nicholas
dull
Poole is
basically.
someone they've relied on so much, but I don't think he'll be giving you
No,
the
but
return.
under Lara's regime, like, Lara has been training him, and he has been showing some flair in the last few games.
Yeah.
I think he'll be the standout for SRH.
Let's see.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not concerned about the batting. I'm not concerned about the batting. You have Kane Williamson, you have Aiden Markram, you have Nicholas Puran, you have an inform Abhishek Sharma,
yeah.
and also if you trust Abdul Samad, he can come in the middle order, and also there is Washington Sundar.
Right.
So the batting looks okay. Batting is not bad, but the bowling is not up to the mark according. The bowling lineup is not up to the mark according to the IPL standards.
I
Same
mean,
to say about
I
CSK
really
and
be
Mumbai
interested to
Indians.
see how this team goes about in the coming matches, because their matches are only going to get tougher. And you talk about the business end of the IPL. It's one of the toughest phases of any team to just come through as well. You never know. You can expect a Mumbai and Chennai to rise all of a sudden and be
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
hunt
yeah,
for playoffs.
definitely.
And that's why the complexion of the IPL scenario will change as well. Right now they're in top fourth, all thanks to two wins what they've got. Having said that, thank you Sandipani for joining. It was great discussing. I'm sure we'll be coming with more of these fun chats. Just chill over a coffee. You guys, you can get your dinner before you sleep. You can listen to us, go to sleep.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what our aim is, bringing this
This was
long.
this was more of a serious kind of a thing. We can have a more fun chill. We had some banter. We'll have
Yeah,
some banter going around. I think we will
I
have
think
some
one of
banter
us
going
will
around in the
have to
future.
play RCB or KKR for the banters to get going. So I
Yeah,
think tomorrow we'll be joining definitely after the RCB game, and let's see where things go.
yeah, definitely. We'll see. No,
So
we
guys,
know already that Chennai is going to make a comeback and they are going to get on board in the points table tomorrow.
I don't think so. I mean, tough
We'll
luck.
see. We'll see. Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, Sanjeevani, great talking to you.
All
Bye
right.
bye,
Good
guys.
night. Bye
Subscribe to our
bye.
channel. Yeah.